Hey everybody, so we're going to be working on example 7 and the monitoring progress questions for day 21 of our notes. So now we're playing around with inequalities, right? So in the previous examples we were solving equations with radical expressions. Now we are solving inequalities with rational or radical expressions. So let's see what happens. So just like before, we're going to try and make sure that x is by itself. So I'm going to come and divide this by 3 and divide that by 3. That'll give me the square root of x minus 1 is less than or equal to 12 divided by 3, that's 4. Right there. And now we're going to treat this the same way we did the other ones. We're going to go ahead and take a square of each side, right? So raise that to the second power and that to the second power. And so this tells me that x minus 1 is less than or equal to 16. And then one step away from finishing this, we have plus 1 on both sides. We get that x has to be less than or equal to 17. And normally we would be done, but we also have to take into account the domain for the square root of something. When we have the square root of something, we cannot have this radicand be negative, otherwise we have an imaginary solution. So not only do we have this condition, but we also have the condition that this cannot be negative, or in other words, that x minus 1 has to be greater than or equal to 0. If I solve for this, and I put this and this together, I'm going to get that my answer is going to look like 1, 17, and we're going to trap that in an inequality. So this right here would be the solution to that. All the numbers, including 1 and 17 and everything in between them, are going to be the solution for that inequality. Number 11 deals with the same type of deal. We're going to have 2 times the square root of x minus 3. Once again, we want to make sure that my x is isolated, so I'm going to add 3 on both sides. We get that 2 times the square root of x is greater than or equal to 3 plus 3, that's 6. We're going to go ahead and divide by 2 on both sides. So we get that the square root of x is greater than or equal to 3. And then finally we're going to take both of these to the second power. And we're going to get that x is greater than or equal to 9. But just like before, we have to make sure that this is not negative. So we got to say that x is greater than or equal to 0. And so if x is greater than or equal to 0 and x is greater than or equal to 9, we can actually just keep the one that dominates, which is this one right here. Alright. Let me see. And then, well, actually, hold on, give me a sec. Wait, let me just make sure I did this right. I don't want to plus 3 on both sides. We take a squared. X is 9. Alright. Okay, no, just kidding. So it won't be this one. I knew I did something wrong. It's going to be this one. This has our bigger number. So that's going to be the one that'll give us our answer. And how do we figure, or how did I figure that out? Try out 0. If I try out 0 right here, 0, the square root of 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0, and then we're saying that 0 is greater than a negative 6, which is very much not true. So we have to keep this one. If you try out all the numbers from 0 to 8, you'll notice that this won't work. The moment you try out 9, this inequality starts working. So this right there would be the solution, not this one. It's important, however, that we still look at this just in case, just to fit our domain. And then last but not least, for number 12, or actually not the last one. Oh no, yeah, it is the last one. Cool. So last one is going to be number 12. We're going to divide by 4 on both sides. And we'll end up getting that the cubic root of x plus 1 is less than 2, because that's what 8 divided by 4 is. And then we're going to go ahead and take this to the third power and this to the third power, which will give us x plus 1 is less than 2 to the third power is 8. And then finally we're going to subtract by 1 on both sides to end up with x is less than 7. Cubic roots have the domain be all the real numbers x, so we don't have to worry about our domain being weird. We don't have to worry about checking our answers. This definitely will be the solution. X is less than 7.